That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we are here today to talk about homework, right? So let me show you, let me start sharing the screen. So this is what we are going to talk about today. And how we can use homework correction to maximize learning, okay? We are going to work with some ideas from Funde 1 and Funde 2, but of course, all the ideas that we have here, you can adapt to your context. So every idea that we have here, it's very nice that you look at them critically, right, to see what works, what does not work in your context, and of course, make the adaptations that you have to do to make it work better, all right? So I guess that we have somebody else. Hello, Marcia, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Sorry, but I am so bad because I got a hard flu. I saw without voice.
Yeah, so save your voice.
Yes, but it's okay. Sorry.
So thank you for joining us. All right.
Thank you. I thank you.
So right. So Marcia, we're going to talk about homework correction.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And this is our agenda for the hour, for the 1 hour that we have. Some initial words about homework, some practical ideas, and then I'm going to share with you some ideas that we can use to correct homework with our students. And feel free to jump in and add comments and add your own ideas anytime you want, okay? Because the more ideas that we have, the bigger is our bag of ideas, right? And it's much good and better for us. And of course, as I said, so do share your ideas, okay? And try to look at each activity critically, right? So there you can better adapt to them to your context, okay? So homework, that's a word. That's a word that, gives us the creeps, right? Goosebumps, right? So this is a rhetoric question. Is homework important? Of course, we know it's important, but why? Why is homework important?
Consolidation.
Absolutely. Basically.
It's a great tool for feedback too, yeah.
Absolutely. So we have those points here, Rafael. So homework gives learners one more opportunity to review classwork. We know as teachers that what is done in the classroom is not enough, right? There should be more, okay? Homework gives learners one more opportunity to expand and maximize learning. So consolidation, expansion of learning. The opportunity to manage their time, they can learn how to manage their time, which is going to be very important in their future lives. So it's the social part of homework, something else that we are teaching them. Give learners the opportunity to take responsibility for their learning. So a little bit of autonomy here. An opportunity to understand that there are things to do even if they don't want to, and chances are that they don't want to do homework, right? But that's life, right? We have to do things that we don't want to. And for teachers, homework informs teachers about what needs to be reviewed, reinforced, consolidated. So it's feedback for us as well on what needs to be done, redone, consolidated, as Rafael said, okay? So we know it's important, but we know it's one of the pet hates for students as well, right? That they hate doing the homework. So we know that they don't like doing the homework, but at least we can minimize that if we correct the homework in a nicer way, okay? And then I have a question. How do you usually correct the homework with your students? Do you use anything different? What is it? What is it that you do, Natalia?
Generally, I practice with them. I usually correct with them. I make groups, or I make some dynamics, you know, or I make them correcting the blackboard, you know. So I try to use something different, you know. Each class in a different way. Depends on the unit or the point, you know. So I try to not to do the same thing.
That's nice, like that code calling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, Marcia.
Yeah.
And Marcia gives the answer, right? So
yes,
they
like the blackboard. So I try.
It's true.
To try to do this, you know, to make groups, and try to make kind of a game. They like this, you know, so I think to use this, make kind of dish, and we win, and the other group is gonna win, so they like to do.
Exactly. So Natalia is trying to incorporate the students, you know, to make homework a little bit more student-centered, right? Instead of teacher-fronted, usual homework correction, right? So this is what we're going to see. We're going to have a look at some ideas of how to correct homework in a fun or lively or engaging or student-centered, all right? We're going to have some ideas here. And as I said, feel free to jump in and make comments, say, oh, this wouldn't work. I would have to adapt to this. This does not work for my context, and so on and so forth. Okay, are we together? Anything that you want to mention before we begin?
Time management. Yeah, time management. Because, you know, I teach like 15-minute classes. I take like 5 minutes to organize them in the classroom. I basically check what they have done, and if they have done, I sample correct it. Not all the exercises. I'm not very through with that. Try to make it fun. I try to contextualize with control practices, which is more related to their real life than the book examples. So I use an example of the book, then I try to contextualize their real lives, like workup stickers or whatever. I try to find a context that makes sense to them, but I don't waste like more than, I don't want to use the word waste, but I don't take more than 10 minutes to do it. I don't know if you're going to show me something like that can work in a 15-minute class environment, but yeah, it would help to learn a new method.
Yeah, I understand. This is a crucial point, right? That we have very little time and lots of things to do, lots of things to cover, right? So maybe one idea is, what is it? I mean, am I gonna, as you said, not waste time, but am I gonna invest time in correcting homework that it's gonna generate some learning? So if you do, if that's the point, if your correction will like expand learning, involve students, bring something communicative for them, so that's fine. I mean, that's fine. I know there are lots to cover, right? But what is it that you can adapt later on so that, you know, nothing is uncovered, right?
Yeah, pick and choose. That's
yes,
why.
Yeah. Absolutely. So making informed decisions, right? I'm gonna invest more time on correcting the homework, and then I will have to manage time with all the other activities that I have. As long as there's learning going on, so that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So we have an activity here, which is, this is the homework activity. It's for Fungi 1. This is the book that we use with Fungi 1, United Kids. It's Unit 4B. So this is basically a memory game that you can use with your students. As Natalia said, I try to, you know, play games with them while correcting the homework. So this is very simple. So what they have to do here is, of course, to classify the animals here under the categories, right? So with books open while correcting the homework. So with the books open, students compare their answers in pairs and make sure they sort out the differences. Here you have the number of animals you have for each category, right? Here again, it's an opportunity to teach students how to compare their answers, because they usually go, bear, octopus, lion, and we can teach them. So what do you have for the C category? What do you have for number 1? So these opportunity to teach students other strategies, right, while checking the homework is very important as well, right? Oh, we have the same, we have different, let's call the teacher. So this is one opportunity to expand learning a little bit as well. So they compare, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I cannot see your screen.
You cannot see my screen?
Can anybody see? I just see.
Yeah, just try to slide. I don't know if you're using your cell phone, just slide to the right, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
No, can you see it now, Laura?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Rafa. Thank you.
Don't worry.
Okay, so
Zooming forever.
So they compare their answers, of course, teacher monitors. The students close their books. And then they have to try to remember, it's the memory game, remember the animals under each category and try out their names. So you would have to have something like that on the board. Either you can project or write it on the board. So let's see how many animals you remember. How many animals do we have for the sea category, for the Arctic category, for the wild category? If you want to time them to make it more challenging, that's nice. They have to, play against the time, right? And finally, right, expansion learners may work together in pairs, right, and tell each other which animals they like, which animals they don't like, and why, and teach them how to interact as well. For example, I like zebras because they are I like koala. I like a koala because it is cute. And you, Laura, right, to teach them how to interact as well. Very simple, straightforward, very little preparation. Maybe you need a board or a projection, and they can have a memory game and, of course, extend and do something more communicative. Okay? Right, so how do you see? Do you think this works for smaller learners?
I do, and sometimes I try to correct the homework like this. The only problem that I have is in a classroom with 35 students, they start to get distracted. They do not pay attention to their classmates when they are answering and giving their opinion.
So yes, if you have a very big group, it can be very challenging, Laura. It's so true. And then, I know it's very, very hard for, throughout the year, throughout the semester, throughout the time we are with the students, teach them, right? I know it's very hard. I know it's not as simple as it sounds, but teach them how to listen, how to raise their hands to give their answers, right? Yeah, and even I think that maybe, especially if you have big groups, it can become very loud, it can become very noisy. So it's an activity that needs some noise. We have to be more, we have to be okay with noise. Okay, it's going to be noisy and it's going to be okay, right? So this is something that we have to bear in mind when we plan something like that. Yes, Rafa.
I always use this stopwatch, because as I said, I spend little time on this. And with a very, very loud buzzer, so I can take their attention. So I set in slots of a minute, and then for each activity, I just give them a minute, 2 tops, and then the alarm buzzes and they have to go. So I can, you know, make the best out of the short time we have. Like,
yeah. And okay, this can be time consuming, as Rafa said, and in his context, it doesn't have much time to deal with homework correction. So this is something to bear in mind as well. It is time consuming. Can I do that? Can I work that way? Right, but then again, and then you have, as Rafa said, pick and choose, you know, what is it that I'm gonna do in the following steps of the lesson, right? But memory game, especially for the younger ones, you know, they like it, they get involved as far as my experience goes, all right? So again, another activity for Fundi may be, especially if you are dealing with high school learners, that they have lots of texts to read. So maybe this is something that you can do, right? Fundi performing and drawing, maybe not for high school, or I don't, it depends a lot on the student's profile that you have. So they have a text to read at home, right? What we can do is write some content words from the story on the board, like peacock, feathers, crane, friends, drink water. So these are words that relate to the story. And in pairs or groups, the students try to retell the story. Don't worry, because Portuguese is not me. I think that Portuguese will come up, right? What we can do is to help them, you know, form sentences, build sentences, and so on and so forth. And they may also need some prompts to tell the story, okay? If it's not a very large group, and you can bring them closer to the board and build the story with them. So they can give you the Portuguese structure, the Portuguese sentences, but you can write them in English. So you can build the story with the students, right? And when they finally summarize the story, you know, in a very controlled and, you know, a small story that they will have, you can ask them to perform the story like a drama or draw a comic book. At this age, they like drawing, you know, so maybe if they can write a comic book out of the story, it can be nice, it can be engaging for the students, right? And finally, teacher may lead a talk, a conversation about what the story teaches us, okay? So there's drama, there's speaking, there's drawing, and if it's a comic, probably drawing with some writing, some language as well, and finally, you know, some critical thinking, right? What is the story all about? Okay, can you relate to a story to what happens in our lives, for example? All right. Again, time consuming. Right, but worth it if there is some learning out of the activity. All right. What kind of texts do you usually have in high school for learners?
sorry, tasks or texts?
Texts. What kind of texts?
Well, high school, they have like it's very political because we're using X's, very political and very high level vocabulary. So pre-teaching vocabulary is a must. And yeah, basically that. Social activism, stuff like that.
Absolutely, from magazines, from newspaper, right? So it's actually very high level articles, like in terms of language, it's actually very challenging. So you can have this, you can have some language, you know, some key words, or maybe even some difficult words, and ask them, okay, let's try to retell the story. So if you read this story from a magazine, let's try to use these words. How can you retell this story, you know, very shortly, using some of the words that we have in the text, right? So maybe it could work. And again, of course, we can lead a conversation. So what is it about? what are the views, in between the lines, okay? So we can deal with the text that way. Again, time consuming, yeah. Learning happening, fine. So I guess this is the balance that we have to strike, right? Do you think this works, or would you feel a little bit uncomfortable because lots of Portuguese may pop up?
That's all right.
As long as we help them and they are engaged, but they are still producing Portuguese, but we are helping them. Look, this is the sentence. This is what you say. It can be short sentences, but at least we are helping them to produce something. Okay? Now, Fundo 2, we use decoding, and this is an activity from the workbook for Unit 12. So I adapted a little bit here, right? What they have is like they have the nouns here and some verbs, and they have to match the noun and the verb and noun collocation. So teacher tells the students these are activities that he or she does, and you can elicit the collocation. So what is it? What is the word for music? You? What is it? You?
Listen.
Listen to music. What about homework?
Okay.
We do.
So you will elicit the verbs from students. If they did the homework, chances are that may be able to remember some of the verbs, some of the collocations. All right. And then you can ask students to try to guess if the teacher likes doing the activities or not. You may have to give them prompts. For example, I think teacher Laura likes to listen to music. I think teacher Laura does not like to do the homework, right? So they can write sentences like that, try to guess what the teacher likes, what the teacher doesn't like. They finally ask the teacher and get a point for each correct one. So Laura, do you like to listen to music? Teacher Laura, do you like to listen to music?
Yes, I do.
So 1 point for me if I guessed it right, okay? And then, because this unit here is not about the simple present in terms of language, target language, it's about the present continuous. So students can write sentences about what the teacher is doing at the moment. So for example, teacher Laura is not listening to music. Teacher Rafael is not doing the homework. Teacher Natalia is reading a book. So students write sentences about what the teacher is doing. Teacher may pretend to be listening to music, to be reading a book. The students finally work in pairs and ask each other. Students can ask follow-up questions. For example, do you like to listen to music? Oh, yes, I do. What do you listen to? Oh, I listen to Harry Styles, for example, something that they are listening to at the moment. Okay. It's a lot here. Okay. We are mixing up verb tenses, right? So it may be a little too much for learners, and then you can make adaptations, right? I'm going to work with X and not with Z because it's very challenging for my learners, okay? But as long as they can play a little bit, it can be a little bit fun, and they can have a communicative activity out of this simple activity here, it's worth trying. All right. Yes, Rafa, do you want to say something?
No, that's right. No, just that class management can be a little tricky for pairing them up and split them up, group them up. So that would be a little, complicated at school, but can be done. Pair work is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the background noise. Yeah.
No problem. So, everything that we plan to do with our students, right? We have the activity, and then as Rafa said, I mean, you have to plan all the management around the activity, right? Otherwise, it can become very unproductive, right? It's like it's gonna take like 40 minutes just to organize the students. So it's important to see to anticipate all the classroom management situations that may spring, right, that may come up, all right? Okay, so, but it's a chance that students have to interact with the language and with each other as well. Okay, so some oral expansion here. Another activity for Fundi 2. These can be quite challenging depending on the number of students that you have to have a musical chair activity, right? Do you think that this would work in your context? Just to think about, okay, this is my context, these are my students in my classrooms. Do you think it works?
He does, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because it's hard to organize, right? We have to be very noise tolerant, right? Because it can be noisy. But this is the activity that they have, okay, in the workbook, and they have to ask questions. Were there personal computers in the 90s? Were there video games in the 80s? So they have to ask and answer questions. It's the activity they have in the workbook, right? So we can project the table here or draw it on the board, and we play musical chairs. So organize the room. You can ask for students' help to organize the room. The student who remains standing when the music stops should ask the questions. Were there shopping malls in the 80s? And then the students who are sitting give the answers, right? Yes, there were, for example, so that everybody participates, the one who is left standing and the ones who are able to sit down, okay? Again, before we start, it's impossible to list the questions and the answers, right? Otherwise, nothing may come up, even if they did their homework. And when the musical chair, not whatever here, when the musical chair is finished, students can expand and ask the teacher about the Wi-Fi, about iPads, about Netflix, about Spotify, right? Other activities or inventions that we don't have here. So they could ask the teacher, Natalia, was there Wi-Fi in the 90s? Were there iPads in the 80s? Right? So that they understand a little bit more how life was some years ago and some decades ago. And finally, you can expand and talk to students if life was better in the 80s or 90s or nowadays and why. For example, we didn't have Netflix, but we would go to the cinema more often, for example. We didn't have Spotify, so we would buy CDs and have a CD collection. And if you still have a CD collection, you can even take a picture and show your students, or they may have their parents' CDs, something like that. Okay, so it's some critical analysis of life in the past and life nowadays. Okay, so how do you see this activity working in your context? Laura, your context, which you have 30, 40 students, so how does it go?
I believe this is decoding, decoding too. I have a small group. I think this would work, totally work. I have a group of 18. Yeah, I think this totally work.
It's gonna take some time, right? Have to organize them.
Yeah,
right? It's gonna take time to organize, but as long as they are organized and there are rules, we have to set the rules, no pushing, no pulling, those kind of things. right? So let's respect, it's just a game, so let's respect. I think it can work and they like it. Then again, we have to be noise tolerant, okay?
Yeah.
We have to be noise tolerant, and the school has to be noise tolerant as well, right? So make sure, you know, this works in your context for your school and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. One more that we have here. This is decoding 3, unit 11. This is one activity that they have in their workbook, right? They have to choose the best alternative. Simple past or past continuous. And then you can play bamboozle with your students. Have you ever tried bamboozle?
I don't think I know what that is.
I'm gonna show how to play bamboozle. It's very simple to organize a bamboozle slide, and it's fun, okay? And especially if you have the sentences already, I mean, you don't have to create them. So I'm gonna show you a bamboozle activity. The only thing that you're gonna need for a bamboozle is online connection, right? And a slide, a projection, something like that. So let me show you the bamboozle. I'm gonna play with you.
It's like Kahoot, right? It's just like Kahoot.
Yeah, but there's, you know, there are some elements of surprise there. So we have team 1 and team 2. So I'm gonna show you how it works. For example, team 1, Natalia, team 2, Rafael and Laura, okay? So Natalia, let's start with you because you are team 1. So choose a number.
5.
5. So Natalia, you have to choose the best alternative here.
Okay. I can't see.
You cannot see?
No, not yet.
Slide to the right.
Can you see, guys?
Yep.
No, just a second. Let me see.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're on your cell phone, just try sliding to the right or left. I don't know.
I think she lost connection, maybe. Okay, there she is. Okay. Can you see it now, Natalia?
No, just a second. Now I can see. Sorry.
No problem. These sentences are the sentences from the workbook.
To find
to choose
just
the best
sentence?
alternative. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mark and Bob were coming from school when they saw the teacher in the car.
That's it. You get the points.
Okay.
All right. Group B, choose one.
10.
10. You can give them time to think about their answers before giving their answers. So.
Peter was studying in the living room when he broke something. I don't know.
Okay. One number, Natalia.
Hey, why have I got 15 for the right answer? That's unfair.
You get all right. This is the point. When we are building the activity, we can choose how many points they are gonna have, right? And then luck is luck.
Okay.
Luck is luck, guys. Okay. So number Natalia, which number do you choose?
Number 2. Number 2.
Sorry. Number 2. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Natalia. I just clicked on the wrong one. I'm so sorry. So we have to start again. But that's how it goes, right? So they choose the ones, look, and this is the twist. This is the twist. They may choose a number in which they win 25 points, and they just win 25 points out of nothing, you know, no effort at all. This is the nice thing about that. Look, other team loses 25 points. So I'm so sorry, luck is luck, right? So this is how the activity goes. Again, it's very easy to build it, to create. You just have to choose how many points you're gonna have for each question. Look, 5 points here, right?
Okay.
That's it, 5 points. And I mean, the other team loses 25 points. Take 5 points from the other groups. You may have those twists, right? But the activity itself, the game itself organizes that. So this is something that you don't have to organize. It's automatically done, okay? So this can be fun. They like playing it. If you have the sentences already ready for you, you just type them in and you can play a game with your students, right? So it's a way, it's not time consuming, not to prepare, not to do it in the classroom, and they like it, right? So if you want to do it, it's a possibility for you. So this is Bamboozle. I'm sorry, the phone was ringing here. This is Bamboozle. Do you think this can work with your groups?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's really fun. They may like it. And of course, if you want to expand, okay, they can play the game, then they open their books, and because they've done the sentences, but playing Bamboozle, they just check it, you monitor just to see if there's anything that needs a little bit of more emphasis. And finally, you can expand, right? Students expand and try to say sentences. For example, what was happening when the teacher arrived, when you arrived at the school yesterday, when you stepped into the classroom today, when you arrived home from school yesterday, right? So you can expand with some oral activities here, okay? If time allows, if the context allows you to do that, if students, you know, are willing to speak English and interact with each other. But again, it's an opportunity to teach them how to interact, how to use English a little bit more in real life. All right? Okay. So one more idea. De 2, decoding 4. Padlet and expansion. Have you ever tried a Padlet, to use Padlet?
Try it.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how it works. Again, you may need internet connection, and students will need a computer or a cell phone. So maybe a cell phone is not allowed in your school, but if it is, it can work. So this is what they have in the workbook that they usually have to do at home, right? They have to fill in the gaps with the simple past or past perfect, which is not usually very easy, right, for them. So they do it. And one way to correct the activity is students work in pairs again and decide on the best answers. So give them some time to choose what is right, what is wrong, and of course we monitor, we guide. And then students typing their answers on a Padlet sheet. So let me show you a Padlet sheet. Again, it's easy to create. Let me show you. This is a Padlet sheet, okay? And if you share the link with the students, so you just share the link with them, and they will be able to type in their answers here, for example. they type in their answers, and we publish their answers, right? If a Padlet is not possible, this is just some technological thing that you can use with your students. You can simply, divide the board, okay, and ask groups to go there and just write their answers. And then you check, okay, what do you have? So everybody has got was for number 1, so it's probably correct. So it's a way of involving students in the correction. Or you can use the Padlet, which you just have to prepare this. It's very easy to prepare and to create, and share the link so they can do something more technological. Okay. So, sorry. Let me go back to this line. So they type in their answers on a Padlet sheet, or they just can write their answers on the board, or they may shout out the answers and teachers write the answers on the board, right? And then what students can do is to adapt the conversations for themselves. You see the chunks here. They can change, they can adapt to the chunks and make a more real conversation for themselves. For example, so how was your trip to Peruíbe, to the beach? How was your trip, I don't know, to a place that they have been to? So they have to decide on the place they're going to talk about beforehand. And then they can adapt to the activity, especially replacing the underlined expressions, words. Okay. All right. So what do you think? Do you think this is possible, doable, messy? And then they can present if they can pay attention to each other, right? Sometimes they don't. So if they cannot pay attention to each other, they can present their conversations and so on and so forth. Okay.
Adri, sorry,
Yeah.
I sent you a private chat. I got a school thing. It's like an anniversary of the school, 100 years is a big thing. So
wow. All right.
Gotta be there at 11. It's quite
okay.
far.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you very much for your contributions.
It's going to be recorded, right? I can
exit
the, yeah, all right.
Absolutely. It's being recorded. Bye-bye, Rafael. Have a nice celebration there. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So you can adapt the activities here, okay, and make them talk to each other a little bit more. All right. Do you think they can do it? Yeah, maybe they're going to need help and we can help them. So you can use the board, you can use the Padlet. Make sure you can use the resources you have or the resources you can use, right? And disappearing dialogue. Have you ever tried disappearing dialogue?
Yes.
Yeah, so do you think it's engaging, it's fun?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, because they have to be attentive.
Yes, with my class, it works.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they have here, again, it's an activity from one of the books. You can use them whenever you have a dialogue, something like that. So students work in pairs and decide on the best answers. Again, it's important to tell them, what do you have for number 1? What do you have for number 2? Right? Teacher checks it together with the whole group, make sure they have the right ones. The students read before they read and perform the conversations with the book open, right? So they can start memorizing the chunks. And then the disappearing dialogue begins. They can even change pairs if that's feasible, if that's doable in your context. You can ask them to change pairs, right? And again, more words disappear, and as you know, as many words as you can or as you wish to, okay? And finally, you can adapt the dialogue for the teacher's birthday party, for Halloween, for example. It's okay, so we have this dialogue here. You did very well. And now let's try to adapt. So it's my birthday next month, or it's Natalia's birthday. You know, I went to a school last Thursday. I don't know if you have that in your school, but I found that so cute. There was a table on the wall with all the months of the year and students' name under each month. I mean, concerning their birthday. So it's nice to say, oh, so today it's Marcia's birthday, right? So that's nice. So maybe we can adapt the dialogue for Halloween, for the teacher's birthday, for someone's birthday, right? So that would be nice. They can do it. Okay, so they've practiced the dialogue a lot, right? So maybe they can adapt for something more real for them. Okay, so the disappearing dialogue and then an adaptation, maybe with books closed, if they can do it, depending on the profile of your students, if they can take in a little bit of challenge. So books closed. Now let's have the conversation, build a conversation, but in a different context. Okay. Okay. Chinese whisper. Have you ever tried Chinese whisper with your students?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Let me see.
Chinese whisper is like you whisper and they keep on whispering for everybody. So
yes,
again,
yes.
yeah, so maybe students line up. It may be a little bit hard to organize them. It sounds easy. Okay, you just line up, but we know that, you know, for a simple lineup, it can be very challenging for us, right?
Yes.
And teacher starts the Chinese whisper. Okay, so this is an activity from the workbook. So we start whispering for the first students. And we whisper the correct one. Is your mom working? So is your mom working now? And they whisper one for the other. And the last student may have to write down the sentence, the question on the board, right? As Natalia said, if they like writing on the board, let them write on the board, right? And then maybe the last student who wrote on the board can be the first one, right? To place him or her in a different place, right? So they are the first one. So you start, you whisper, and they go on whispering the sentence until the last one writes on the board. So this can work. It's not so noisy. On the contrary, right? They have to whisper that, and it can work. Okay, it's a little bit fun, something different that you can use with your students. And they can finally ask each other, right? Is your mom working now? Right? Make them ask each other the questions. You can even, okay, let's think of 2 or 3 more questions here then you can ask. So what is your dog doing now? Is your dog sleeping now? Do you have a brother or sister? Is she studying right now? So you can create 2 or 3 more questions here and they can ask each other. Possible, doable.
I like this idea.
Yeah.
I like the others as well, but this one I didn't know. I mean, use this as a, I'm sorry, excuse me,
No problem.
As a technique of correction.
Yeah. Chances are that when the whisper gets to the last one and this student writes on the board, chances are that it's going to be something completely different, right? But that's okay. At least they are playing, interacting with the language and with each other as well, right? So, and then of course we correct the sentence, guys, this was not what I whispered. So let's see the correct one. Okay, so we have to be mistake tolerant here, right? Things can come up completely different from the original one, but that's the fun thing. That's the fun part. Okay, so this Chinese whisper, everybody quiet, you know, concentrated and so on and so forth. And this happens to be quite a lot. So let's play it again. And so, oh my God, and you know, we are pressed for time, we have to do other things, but they want to play it again. And then you have to decide, okay, how to say no or how to allow some time in your lesson to play it again, okay? And wheel of names. Have you ever tried this wheel of names here?
No.
This is fun because, again, it's very easy to create one. And the original idea is that you have a wheel like that, and you write students' names. You can write as many names as you want, okay? And you will spin the wheel, and that is there, Marcia, okay? It stops at Marcia. And then Marcia has to give the answer, or Marcia has to do something. So she's the chosen one. It's very good for cold calling, you know, when you want to call students, you know, when, I mean, it's random. I mean, luck is luck. It's your turn now. And instead of writing names, you can write other things as well. For example, here, this is an activity from the book, from DC. Okay, and they have to give advice. So maybe they did the homework, they did the activity at home. So I have low grades, so we should study more. So I just wrote here the chunks, the problems: always late, lots of soda, junk food, can't sleep. And then we spin the wheel. They have to say the sentence and give advice. We can play it in groups, 2 different groups, right? One group mentions the problem, the other one gives advice. We can play it in pairs. We can share the link and they can play it together. I'm gonna show you how it works. Let me just find to do here. It's here. Look. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. So always late. So Marcia, this is your problem. So what can you say?
What can I say?
Yeah, it's a problem that you have, like always late.
Yes, it could be a problem.
So maybe you have to prepare this and say, oh, I have a problem. I'm always
Oh, I
late
have
for
a problem. I am always late.
And somebody gives
Give
some
me
advice.
an answer. Yes.
Yes, all right. So they can play in pairs. What you have to do is to share with them the link and they can play it. And it's usually fun.
Nice. I like it so
Yeah,
much.
me too. So Natalia, this is your problem then.
In sleep. Let me see. I think I need to practice more activities, like practice sports and waste more energy. Then I can sleep better.
Okay. Yeah. Or not, you can just, you know, students, they just have to talk about the problem. Oh, I have a problem. I can't sleep very well. And then the others or somebody.
Straight to the
gives-
point.
Yes. And you see, it's super easy to prepare. You just have to include things here. For example, can't is
Straight to the point.
It's very straightforward, very straightforward. And because it's a wheel of name, if you want to use it with the student's name, you just include the names here. For example, Natalia.
Okay.
It's easy to prepare, right? It's very simple, right? Of course, you need an account, but as long as you have an account, it's super, super simple to prepare one, okay?
Okay.
So you can use this wheel of names, which is actually for names, but you can use it for anything, right? And it's fun. They like playing it and so on and so forth. All right. Again, you need some internet connection. You need a projector, or they may do it in pairs using their cell phones. So, you know, this preparation before, you know, and when we have all the steps prepared in the classroom, you know, they work more than we do, right? Because they will be doing the activity and we are monitoring, right? And helping when necessary, okay? So these are some ideas that we have for homework correction. Of course, you can adapt, readapt to them, you know. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention, to share with us? Something that you do, say, works wonders? Is there anything that you'd like to?
Well, I'm not sure if if this works wonders, but sometimes I ask them to pick up a friend to answer a question. So I say, Juliana, pick up somebody to answer number 3. They kind of enjoy it.
Yes, yes. Or they can spin the wheel of names. You have students saying, okay, so Luciana, just spin the wheel here. Let's see who's going to answer your question. They enjoy it. I agree, Laura. Marcia, your groups, you know, when you have very big groups, it can be very, very, very challenging, right? So is there anything here that you can use with some of your groups?
I thank you for all the ideas that you gave me today, because nowadays I teach only for Fundamental 1.
Okay.
And next year I will have classes Fundamental 2. But I like it so much because the books are so different, and we don't have homework at Fundamental 1.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And I enjoy it so much. I liked the hill. I liked the bamboos. That's like Kahoot that we have. And at the Objetivo that I teach, they have a nice technology support. It's so good. It's so good. I think I won't have problem with this because of about the technology.
Yeah, that's the nicest thing for us teachers, right? When you have technology working in favor of us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And sorry for I didn't appear so much because I'm catching a lot. So I'm so bad I didn't open the camera because of these.
Poor Marcia. I'm so sorry, Marcia. And now just some last words for us, some food for thought, right? We know that, but you know, because we're teachers and because we are human, sometimes we forget that homework is not punishment, right? Like, okay, if you stay quiet today, you're not going to have homework. You know, so homework is not punishment, right? They usually hate it, and if we emphasize that we are punishing them with homework, chances are that they're going to hate it. They're going to hate homework even more, right? Maybe less is more. Right, so little doses every week instead of homework lumps. You know, okay, so we finished unit 12, so let's do everything. Maybe for us 2 or 3 pages are not much. Yeah, we can do it very quickly, but students, you know, they have English, they have science, they have Portuguese, they have history, they have lots of other homework to do. So maybe less is more. Plan what to assign and how to correct the homework, right? What if students don't do the homework, right? This is challenging. In my context, this is very challenging. So if there is someone you can talk to, if there is a coordinator, right, that can talk to the parents, and we can make parents a little bit more aware that kids need homework routine as well. So we may start changing something in our students. It's not that we're going to change the situation completely in 1 year, but we can start changing the situation. And as we know, homework is usually a hassle for teachers. You know, it's a battle, it's a fight for teachers, for parents, and for students, right? We know that. We know that they hate homework. You know, parents usually have a hard time at home dealing with homework, especially when they are, you know, committed, you know, to their students' education, and for teachers as well, right? Especially when teachers take homework home to correct, and then the piles, you know, just grow and grow. So it can be a hassle. So we can at least make correction a little bit more fun, more engaging, more student-centered and communicative, okay? We know it's hard, but maybe if the correction is a little bit nicer, okay, we can start changing the perception students have of homework, all right? So, and now just a reminder here for me, okay, that we have the attendance list, which I'm gonna share with you. Okay, so there you can, I'm gonna share via chat, and all you have to do is to write your name and the name of your school for the attendance list, okay?
Okay.
And then guys, of course, just to close, you know, thank you so very much. This is my email. If there is anything you'd like to share that you did, that worked, and say, oh my God, I'd like to share that with Cel.Lep. You are very much welcome, because, you know, then the bag of ideas grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So all the contributions are very much welcome. Or you can share the idea with your consultant. Who is your consultant from Cel.Lep?
Mine is Daniele Mantovani.
Me too. Me too.
Okay. Okay, so share the ideas, share with your consultant what worked, because then she's probably going to share with us, and it's very much welcoming. It's very much useful for us. Okay? All right.
Okay.
So Natalia, Marcia, Laura, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I know teachers work a lot at the weekends as well, right? But I hope you find some time to take care of yourself, of your voice, and enjoy your free time a little bit as well. Okay?
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Adriana,
Yes.
Can we have the PowerPoint presentation?
We can. Who is your consultant, Laura?
It is also Dani.
Dani, okay. So I'm gonna share with Dani, and then she can share with you. I guess it's the quick. It's the fastest way to get the PowerPoint. Of course you can. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.